So I'm assuming that everyone watching this video has some sort of fear, whether that's heights, spiders, dogs or bees, snakes or feet, unless you're a robot. Then I guess your fear is probably Steve pressing delete. If you Google fears, you'll probably come across a massive list of phobias. Did you know there's even a fear of computers? It's called cyberphobia. Okay class, pull out your laptops and write a story about your weekend. Technically, all your home electronic things are computers. So your TV, AirPods, speakers, even your phones. Sorry to whoever threw their phone across the room. But on a real note, these phobias are like real things, and they should be taken seriously. Even I've got my fair share of things I'm afraid of. Like this one time I went camping. It wasn't like out back in the bush kind of camping. It was more like pay a guy $20 for a 10 by 10 meter square that had a power source and a nearby restroom facility. Anyway, so I was setting up the tent with my family, and the one thing I wanted to do was get the power in the tent set up so I could charge my DVD player and waste my time watching movies. So I grabbed the cord, run round to the back of the tent, and the power box thing that you have to plug the cord into has this little flap you have to lift. So I walk up to the power box, lift the flap, and the next thing I know, there was a spider literally the size of my hand touching me on my hand, like with all its 8 legs. Now, I wouldn't consider myself to be arachnophobic, which is the fear of spiders. Like if I saw a small spider somewhere in my house, I'd probably be like, meh, and then completely avoid the entire room. But when a spider bigger than your hand unexpectedly appears on your hand, I think that's reason enough to scream the way I did. I screamed so loud with such urgency that my mum ran around the corner so quick because she thought I'd electrocuted myself. Like, my scream almost gave her a heart attack. The second that she could see I was 96% still alive and that it was just a spider, she went from complete panic mode to laughing, almost pissing her pants. I mean, this spider scared 4% of the life out of me, and she's already got her phone out and had the audacity to ask me, put your hand back next to it so I can get a picture. I'm still trying to recover from this traumatic jump scare experience, mum. And now just so you have proof, here's the picture. Now before I show it, anyone who's actually arachnophobic or has a very intense fear of spiders, look away for a few seconds. I'll tell you when you can look back. So look away now. Here's the picture. And look back. Now keep in mind, that's my dad's hand, and my little 12-year-old hand was like half the size of his, and he didn't even want to go close to it. So because of perspective and stuff, this is not an accurate comparison. So I'm not over exaggerating when I say that spider was bigger than my hand. I'm pretty sure that spider was a huntsman, and they're pretty harmless. I'm told they eat other things like spiders and stuff, and not 12-year-old kids' hands. Then again, that could have just been something my mum told me, so I would sleep peacefully. But regardless of how harmless they were, we still didn't even want to go close to it. So I ended up waiting ages before we could set up the power to charge my DVD player. Now, not all scary experiences come from terrifying 8-legged creatures. Not only do people make horror movies, but people also make horror video games. And they're just as terrifying, if not more, than the movies. Have you guys ever tried playing Five Nights at Freddy's? That game's scary. I, to this day, have not made it past that first night. I spend way too much time worrying about the next jump scare when you're supposed to be paying attention to the battery level. Some games aren't even designed to be scary, and yet I've still gotten terrified. One time, me and one of my mates were playing this game called Ark. Basically, you run around collecting resources, building bases, and taming dinosaurs. Anyway, so me and my friend were running around collecting resources for our cool wooden base we were building, and it was nighttime, which should have been our first red flag to not go outside, but we were pro gamers, so we did it anyway. We were peacefully chopping down a few trees, and in the distance we see 2 little glowing dots. Do you see that? What? That glowing thing? I think it's moving to you. That doesn't look good. It's running at me. Where'd you go? Hello? So for the next hour, we spent our time getting hunted by these tiny little things called Trudons. And at nighttime, they just so happened to have glowing eyes. Every time we walked outside, we got killed. They were everywhere. Hiding in the water, waiting behind our gates, hiding in bushes, chasing us through our paddock, and we couldn't do a thing to stop them. It was just like when the baby zombie jumps on your head in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies. At one point, they even got into our house and just killed us every time we respawned. I didn't know this was going to be a horror game. It was simultaneously the most terrifying experience and the funniest thing we've ever done in Ark. Hey Wildcard, I think I just came up with a new Ark spin-off. Ark escaped the Trudons. Now, I'm not 100% sure if in the normal game they have glowing eyes. I'm assuming we were playing during the Halloween event, which just turned everything in the game into a horror game. But nonetheless, it was scary.